everyone, in today's video, I'll be continuing on from the previous video, where I discussed the topic of atheistic Satanism and its validity within the wider satanic community. In the video I didn't cover everything I wanted to talk about, so in this video I'll be covering some of the more common arguments, and in response giving my own. This video will be mainly compiled of my previous points, just better elaborated on, as my editing and script writing skills have vastly improved since my last look at this topic. I'm going to split this video into two parts, the most common arguments, and then my arguments. Timestamps are all in the description if you don't want to hear a particular part for whatever reason. I'd like to clarify, my opinion on what makes a person a Satanist is the literal belief and devotion in Satan. I do not see those who simply agree with satanic philosophy as Satanists. If they refer to themselves as satanic philosophers or simply as just atheists who agree with satanic philosophy, I'd be perfectly fine with these organizations. Most of them are making actual change for everyone, but they are diluting the significance of the title of Satanist, and are using our religious imagery for political purposes, which, as I highlighted many times in my other video, has absolutely nothing to do with Satanism. Satanism does not subscribe to any political agenda, it never has and never will. Satanism is inherently neutral, it is a lifestyle. An individual can be a Satanist and of any political standpoint. So this video will be inherently biased, which is usually something I try to avoid, but it's my channel, and if you don't like it, then watch something else, I suppose. If anyone would like to put some arguments I didn't cover in the comments, I am more than happy to have the discussion. But before we start, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for the views and engagement on my last video. It really helps with the algorithm. We're nearly at 200 subscribers, so if you like my content and would like to help out, subscribe or leave a comment to help push this video in the algorithm. So without any further ado, let's get into some of the more common arguments I've received. Argument 1. You don't need to believe in Satan to be a Satanist. The assertion that belief in Satan isn't necessary to be a Satanist stands as appeal to supporting atheistic Satanism. It's an argument riddled with controversy and apparent contradictions. An analogy might help illustrate this complexity. Consider someone embodying Christian value, pro-life, opposed to gay marriage yet not adhering to the Christian deity or practices. Would that individual be deemed an atheistic Christian? Common sense would promptly refute this notion. Instead, they'd be recognized as someone with Christian values. Applying this analogy to atheistic Satanism, it becomes evident that merely embracing satanic values doesn't automatically confer the title of Satanist. The discrepancy arises when individuals claim adherence to these values without genuinely embodying them. Some may exploit the Satanist label for personal gain or attention, diverging from the essence of authentic satanic beliefs. This controversy prompts deeper reflection on the intricate dynamics between belief systems, values, and self-proclaimed affiliations within the context of Satanism. Argument 2. Anton LaVey created Satanism. The assertion that Anton LaVey originated Satanism stands as a contentious point, particularly among LaVeyan and TST Satanists who adamantly defend this notion. However, a closer examination reveals a more intricate history. Contrary to popular belief, LaVey didn't author the belief central to LaVeyan Satanism or define the entire spectrum of satanic practices. His work draws heavily from the philosophies of Aleister Crowley and Nietzsche, with segments of the Satanic Bible alleged to be direct copies from other texts, raising questions about originality. The concept of Satanism itself predates the Church of Satan and LaVey's contributions by decades, if not centuries. In Jules Michelet's 1862 book, Satanism and Witchcraft, descriptions of satanic practices are documented, effectively debunking the notion that LaVey coined the term or created the religion. This historical perspective challenges the conventional narrative surrounding the genesis of Satanism. A deeper exploration into the annals of Satanism's history sheds light on these misconceptions. It's disheartening to witness the perpetuation of false claims by individuals who fail to delve into the comprehensive historical tapestry of our religious beliefs. The failure to engage in sincere study only perpetuates misunderstandings and misrepresentations, veering away from the essence and authenticity of this practice. It's a disservice to the richness and depth of Satanism when individuals embrace misattributed beliefs for their own self-validation or attention-seeking purposes, indicating a lack of sincere dedication to understanding its origins and true principles. Argument 3. Because Anton LaVey popularized the term Satanism, he gets to decide what defines Satanism. The flimsy argument that popularization grants authority over defining a religious practice warrants further scrutiny. Allow me to illustrate this with yet another analogy. Suppose Western movies prominently showcased voodoo and various indigenous practices. Would that grant Westerners the privilege of defining what voodoo truly encompasses? The answer unequivocally remains a resounding no. Similarly, the modernization of genuine religious practices, including Satanism, often becomes a tool for profit and self-validation, especially among individuals seeking attention or grappling with personal voids. This process equates to appropriating and redefining established beliefs to suit contemporary preferences. Such actions mirror the commercialization of spirituality, potentially diluting the authenticity of deeply rooted religious ideologies. It's perplexing how, if this were to happen within any other revered faith, societal uproar would likely follow. However, the negligence and lack of scrutiny surrounding Satanism create a vacuum wherein misrepresented interpretations thrive unchecked. This complacency perpetuates an echo chamber of misguided arguments, leaving authentic Satanists unheard and contributing to the disillusionment of families trying to grasp the true essence of this religious practice. Argument 4. You just disagree with the politics. The contention surrounding the assertion that disagreement with certain ideologies equates to mere political discord requires a deeper examination. My concerns don't revolve around the political inclinations of entities like TST or the Church of Satan. Instead, it's rooted in a fundamental belief that Satanism, at its core, transcends politics entirely. Satanism, historically and intrinsically, has never been a political movement. The utilization of satanic symbols in the guise of Satanism for political agendas not only lacks authenticity but also introduces a deceptive narrative. It's a disservice to the essence of Satanism to attempt to overlay it with any political framework. As for myself, I hold libertarian views, socially leaning left and economically leaning right, yet I consciously refrain from integrating my political stance into my content. Why? Because it remains inconsequential to the essence of Satanism and the narrative I aim to uphold. The attempt to politicize Satanism is a misguided misrepresentation, and it's crucial to cease these attempts to align a religious practice with any political ideology. Now I've gone over the more common arguments, let me give you a few arguments of my own. These are mostly arguments I gave in my last video, but for argument sake, it's worth going back over. Number 1, lack of genuine belief. The term atheistic Satanism encapsulates a belief system embraced by individuals who profess an allegiance to Satan but do not adhere to the conventional belief in Satan as an actual entity or deity. Instead, they revere Satan as a symbol emblematic of rebellion, individualism, and skepticism toward established norms and religious institutions. This stance starkly contrasts with the principles foundational to theistic Satanism, which predicates its faith on acknowledging Satan as a tangible, existing entity with whom practitioners seek to establish a connection. In the realm of theistic Satanism, practitioners conceive of Satan not merely as a symbol, but as a deity or potent force with whom they cultivate a relationship through ritualistic engagements. To them, Satan embodies an independent, self-reliant deity who champions individuality and personal autonomy. However, atheistic Satanism diverges drastically by rejecting any supernatural convictions and discounting the existence of Satan as an actual being. Despite adopting certain aesthetic and symbolic trappings associated with Satanism, the core difference lies in the absence of a spiritual dimension in atheistic Satanism, a dimension pivotal to theistic Satanism. Consequently, atheistic Satanism might incorporate elements akin to Satanism, but it lacks the spiritual underpinning intrinsic to genuine satanic worship. Thus, while it may harness the imagery and symbols of Satanism for philosophical or political ends, it cannot be legitimately categorized as authentic Satanism, rather positioned as a movement exploiting satanic imagery for alternative purposes. Number 2, political narrative. Atheistic Satanism frequently intertwines the utilization of satanic symbolism with a vehicle for advancing specific political or social agendas. Many self-identified atheist Satanists employ the imagery and rhetoric of Satanism as a conduit to propagate distinct worldviews or ideologies, be it Theism, humanism, or leftist political inclinations. This appropriation of Satanism as a political platform diverges significantly from the authentic essence of satanic worship. Satanism, in its genuine form, constitutes a religious or spiritual pursuit centered around a reverence or adoration of Satan as a deity or a source of inspiration. It encompasses a deeper spiritual or religious devotion, far beyond serving as a vehicle for promoting select political or social viewpoints. The utilization of Satanism in such a manner by atheistic Satanists equates to an appropriation of a religious tradition for personal or political gain, manipulating its symbolism to suit their political objectives. This appropriation not only stands as an act of dishonesty, but also showcases a profound disrespect toward those who earnestly practice Satanism as a genuine religious or spiritual tradition. Such a reduction of Satanism into a mere political tool undermines its legitimacy and diminishes its profound significance as a belief system. In essence, atheistic Satanism deviates from the true essence of satanic worship, morphing instead into a form of political opportunism. It exploits the intricate symbolism and mythos of Satanism for personal or political agendas, tarnishing the sanctity of this belief system. Number 3. Material gain. Atheistic satanic organizations often seem to approach Satanism as a means to an end, rather than engaging with its spiritual or philosophical depths. The primary motive behind many of these entities appears to be centered on materialistic gains, leveraging Satanism for profit margins or achieving heightened publicity. Numerous organizations within this realm resort to merchandising satanic imagery, creating and commercializing products to sell to their followers. Additionally, they might orchestrate events, often accompanied by steep admission fees, in pursuit of financial gain. Alternatively, some manipulate the notoriety of Satanism to secure media coverage or advocate for agendas that stray far from the foundational beliefs and values associated with Satanism. This exploitative behavior not only lacks integrity but also varies significantly from the true essence of Satanism. For theistic Satanists, Satanism embodies a profound spiritual journey and a comprehensive way of life, whereas atheistic Satanists appear to instrumentalize Satanism to serve their personal interests. It remains pivotal to discern between individuals genuinely committed to embracing the core tenets and values of Satanism and those who exploit it for selfish motives. The act of harnessing a religious or philosophical system solely for personal enrichment diminishes the integrity of the belief system itself and undermines the legitimacy of sincere adherence. It's imperative to uphold the sanctity of belief systems by distinguishing those who earnestly follow its principles from those who seek to exploit it for their own gains. In conclusion, the delineation between genuine Satanism and ideological deviations emerges as a recurring theme, characterized by an unwavering stance on the requirement of literal belief and devotion in Satan to earn a title of Satanist. This distinction arises amidst debates over the embrace of satanic values versus the genuine embodiment of these principles, highlighting the discrepancy between mere affiliation and authentic adherence. The origins and attribution of Satanism stir considerable controversy, notably the belief surrounding Anton LaVey's pivotal role in its creation. However, an in-depth historical examination unveils a narrative that predates LaVey's contributions by centuries, debunking claims of sole authorship or coinage of the term. Such revelations prompt introspection into the misattributions that prevail due to insufficient scholarly scrutiny. The appropriation and politicization of Satanism emerges contentious issues, as atheistic Satanists employ satanic symbolism for personal or political agendas. This deviation from the spiritual core diminishes the sanctity and authenticity of satanic worship, reducing it to a political tool or profit-making venture, a distortion that undermines the essence of this belief system. Furthermore, the examination extends to exploitative practices within atheistic satanic organizations, highlighting the exploitation of religious symbolism for material gain. This opportunistic approach stands in stark contrast to the sincere spiritual commitment embraced by theistic Satanists, accentuating the ethical dilemma surrounding the commercialization and manipulation of religious belief systems. The discourse traverses multifaceted arguments, contemplating the essence of belief, authenticity, and the sanctity of religious practices. It underscores the imperative need for discernment between genuine adherence to satanic principles and exploitative endeavors seeking personal or political gains. The significance of upholding the integrity and authenticity of belief systems becomes evident, demanding sincere dedication and a profound understanding of the foundational values they embody. Ultimately, this discourse encourages critical thinking, scholarly inquiry, and introspection into the complexities inherent in delineating the boundaries of satanic beliefs. The journey through these contentious topics aims to foster a deeper comprehension of satanic ideologies and the nuanced interplay between genuine adherence and misappropriation within this multifaceted realm. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you've learned something. Hail Satan!